What is going on YouTube? Kronos here and welcome back to another PSO2 video. You're probably looking at the screen like, what exactly did I click on? I'm pretty sure the title had nothing to do with this, but I'm trying a new thing where I'm just taking like intro B-roll of just whatever is going on in the community itself while I go along with videos. Kind of got the idea slightly from Karo, good friend Karopi, who tends to have, some of his alliance mates or just random people around to start the videos. And I thought, how funny would it be to just start up a video that I suppose I've been working on for a while now, while a friend of mine is streaming. So if you guys aren't aware, Kitsubea, fantastic individual, canonically wholesome, as we like to say, but is streaming at the moment over on twitch.tv. I'm actually gonna leave a link in the video description to her channel. Not much to do with the video itself, but I thought it'd be a fun little thing to do at the start of the video. So I actually was looking over how I want to do this video, and I was going to go with something a bit more, what's what I'm looking for, a bit more structured. But as I went to write the video, it just didn't feel like me. It felt a bit off. It felt a bit more, I don't know, it just felt a bit robotic. So I'm going to do videos the way that I enjoy doing them, with a bit more of a deep dive. Essentially, we're going to go into everything that is and that will be about Kvaris. We're essentially going to go over everything we possibly can and kind of just give my thoughts on it and let you guys kind of know, I don't know, honestly, just how I feel about the information itself and any extra, small little tidbits of info that I happen to have along with. And actually, it's really funny to show you guys an idea of what I've been doing. I actually have even a huge note of just small little notes of things I want to make sure to include. And this is actually not even enough. This isn't everything else. This is what I do before I write a script for videos, usually the scripted videos. And yeah, it's a lot if this is the notes before I write the script. So yeah, as you can see, and then on top of that, a bunch of screenshots. Honestly, just it wasn't a good time. So I figured we're gonna go into it in this sort of way instead, where we just go over this together, kind of like we usually do with a bunch of other videos in the past. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm gonna leave a link in the video description to this actual article. That way you guys can go over it yourselves, or you can go over with it along with me as well. But this is going to be everything that we know coming out in the Kvaris update. Let's go ahead and start with the very beginning. First, we got the new icy fields of Kvaris. They just show off a couple of pictures. Pretty cool looking zone. I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far. We have new gathering items. This is pretty standard with the new region. We have, of course, new region mags, new gathering items. They're pretty much along the same lines as beforehand. They're just going to be Kvaris specific. New Trainia. With new skills, we get new skill points, and with new skill points means new Trainia. So along with that, we have, this looks to be the battle zone, Belagana ruins. The fact that I see ruins makes me think of the Ilia zone lab. Can't remember exactly what the name of it. We always call it lab. So, but it makes me think of lab immediately because of ruins, because that zone is also in ruins. But yeah, teaches their own. We also have a new set of enemies. They say specifically watch out for status ailments. I'm pretty sure they're just talking about freeze. I feel like everything in this new region is going to freeze you, and it's not going to be a good time. They also mentioned that there's going to be a bonus, basically a bump to the amount of experience and rare drop rate for these new, or for the golden and silver enemies. So they show before and after. You can kind of see a little bit. Before the adjustment, it's about 244k. I'm sorry, 2400k. But after, it's 2900. So nice little bump there as far as experience goes. But then, of course, they also say they increase the rare drop rate, but we all know RDR is just a lie. Moving on, we have new boss type enemies they kind of show off. We have Crocodilus, we have Proctus Ale and Proctus Retum, which takes attacks from enemies in the Ilia region and the Retum region. So that's pretty cool. We've got new altars, the Malacroid. I'll be honest, someone in my chat even said something about this. I'm surprised not to see Del Mammoth here. But maybe we will in a future update. Who knows? And then face new dolls. Fall Sonar, anyone? Anyway. Moving on, we've got some new actions and trials. So we've got the new floating boards trial. Essentially be able to ride these, what looks like hoverboards. And the way they described it is there's specialized equipment that we can ride to either complete trials or, race around the landscape. It shows us attacking the enemies with the board, stunning them, knocking them down and dealing damage, which is super dope. Also doing specialized trials where we chase after what looks like a carrier or dolls carriers to knock down their equipment and I guess stop them from refueling, I suppose. Moving on from there, we have the new throw action. I'm actually kind of excited about what this kind of brings to the game itself. First off, it brings in a new mechanic where we can throw these crystalline ice at enemies to inflict damage, but it's also going to affect certain boss fights where we'll be able to pick up and throw back like bombs and things like that. Plus, I mean, this animation looks pretty sick, I'll be honest with you. Like, they could have just had it, toss out from your character's shoulder or whatever, but they have like a full animation into it, and I'm here for it. They show the cold photon excitation trial, probably saying that wrong, and then the blizzard enemy suppression trial where it shows that you can get frozen. Also shows inflicting massive damage, so on and so forth. And of course, new gameplay elements. So I'm going to skim through this because we are going to go over this in detail in a different video. Well, technically we have over on Twitch. I'm not sure if I want to use that footage or if I want to go through it again a bit differently, but this is going to be gone through in detail in a separate video, so look forward to that on the channel in just a little bit. But we've got Hunter. Essentially, each class, I'm going to go through it slowly in case you guys want to read up on it on your own, but each class got about roughly 3 to 5 new skills. Some classes, a little more so than others as far as the quality of the skills themselves. A lot of really cool things to note. I guess I can make a couple call outs. Foe brand gives Foe a reason to be used, essentially, which is fantastic going into new region, excuse me. A lot of the skills that had, long cooldown times, they were given an ability called short charge, where essentially you reduce the actual duration of it, but also greatly reduce its cooldown. Fighter got a very, very scary one called overload short charge, which actually increases the damage you take, which I'm not sure if that means even further than before or how they want to have that, but we'll have to see. But other honorable mentions, things like spread shot, gunner getting their counter whenever you S-roll through something, bouncer, soaring blade specifically. I'm sure people have asked me about this. I can't even count how many times so far, but the new soaring blades, counter edge and photon blade protect, both fantastic additions to the entire lineup. So we'll talk about this more in depth in that video and my thoughts about it. Maybe I'll separate that video because I'm sure people want to know my thoughts on the bouncer skills. But moving on, we have the new 6-star rarity weapons. We know of 2 specific, what's what I'm looking for here, 2 specific potentials for these weapons: the Evil Eclipse, and the Stahl series. Maybe I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. But we know that the Evil Eclipse are going to be primarily boss killers. It looks like they're going to have basically potency, and then whenever you step through or successfully step through an ability, you have increased normal. I'm trying to think of the right wording for this because technically it's specific. It's increased natural PP recovery is what it's going to be. So I'm not sure if that activates a natural PP recovery. I'm not sure if that means that it's just one natural PP recovery is active on its own, but we'll have to see. Now, this is where I'm a little bit confused, actually. We see the Rock series weapons, just so you guys know, this is all the same series. This is not 3 separate series. That's why you notice that there are no 2 that are shared alike, but this is the same series. We know one series of weapons is going to be increased damage to non-boss types. I'm just not sure if it is these here or if it's the Rock series. So we'll have to find out when we get some more information. I'm sure someone already knows or they've confirmed it somewhere. I just can't remember which of the 2 it actually is. And then of course we have a couple of new augments. They show off essentially these kind of like our combination Gigas augments, where you combine essentially it's kind of like the Meltech and all of those, the Meltech Dual and all of those, but it's with Gigas instead. So this might take up the slot of Gigas, though it's equal with Gigas as far as power goes. So you can see that you've got range tech, Meltech, and then range melee, all at 2.5%, or you have just flat, it looks like triple or trip-bowlable, which is just flat potency across the board, which might be a combination of either all of these together, or it could be a combination of the doable capsules. We'll have to see how that works out. New story. This is pretty standard across the board. I'm excited to see how the story works out, but I'm not going to go too far into it. They mentioned specifically the Kvaris camp does not have like NPCs running it. It's a bunch of robots. Not to say that there aren't NPCs, but NPCs aren't running the shops, so. New tasks, they also specifically mentioned during this that the new tasks that we'll be getting should help you move your character pretty smoothly up to max level. However, they're going to be even more tasks than there were before. So I'm not sure if that means like you're going to need more tasks to hit level 60, or just in general that there are more tasks available overall. So you'll be able to hit 60 that much easier. We'll have to see what that means when we get into the new region. So Crocodilus Vieira Suppression Op, we actually have a video for this that we're going to be viewing in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I mean, it's the next big bad in the next area. It looks like we ride our floating boards up to him, and then we fight him while also, you know, throwing bombs back at him using the throw projectiles. So they want to use every aspect of the new abilities in this, and honestly, I don't blame them. It's a great idea. With the new region comes new Battle Dia, so we've got new yellow and new purple Battle Dia, so better leveling, and then also just more enemies to fight, so that should be pretty fun. On top of that, they also mentioned that they're going to be removing the actual loss of experience from being too high level on yellow Battle Dia. I'm not sure if that also means being too low level, essentially making sure that as long as you're close to the level itself, like as long as you have enough battle power to do it, you get experience from it. I'm not sure how that's going to work out overall. I'm not sure if they mean it like on the low end or on the high end, but hopefully it's on both ends, and it's just for, you know, the battle power requirement or the level requirement or whatever happens to be to get in, and you're good to go to get full experience, because I want yellow triggers to be the way to level very quickly if you have access to them. And of course, we have new ranks, the yellow in Ileo and Redum, to help fill in those gaps as far as leveling goes. So really trying to streamline this process itself if you're leveling secondary classes. We also have new field races. So field races actually have a video as well that they're going to be doing. So, well, they've already done essentially a video that we're going to be reviewing in the future. But field races essentially will be able to race with 31 other friends. And essentially you'll be grabbing all these checkpoints and then going through a ring to see who's gotten the most of them. So the idea is that you go through the ring after you gather as many checkpoints as you can with, you know, the fastest time. Yeah, race against the clock with up to 32 players while collecting score symbols and passing through 3 checkpoints total. So a race, it should be pretty fun. I think they said there were two courses in Redum and 1 in Ileo. That might be reversed, but we'll find out when it releases. We also have new alliance tasks. Now, alliance tasks essentially are going to be similar to that they were in base game, where they're going to give out rewards for completing them. The difference is not going to be alliance points. Looks like it's going to be a token or a currency, an alliance badge, which you'll be able to spend in an alliance shop. The alliance shop at the moment they've shown off that has these little badges here that you can purchase for your character. They've also shown, actually, I don't think it's in this. Oh, it's not here. So during the trailer, they actually showed off the alliance shop, where it showed, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit really quick. Hold that thought. Where it specifically showed the trigger for this new quest type, Drill Dark False Interception Rank 2. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is this is actually a location where it looks like you can run either one of these. It shows the rank 1 and the rank 2 here. The rank 2 is only 4 players, but we'll talk about it more when we come back down to it. But you're able to purchase that for the Alliance badges in the Alliance shop. So back to where we were at before I jumped way ahead. We've also got replay stories at the quest counter. Very, very good addition. Something that we definitely should have had for quite some time, but it's finally coming in and I'm really happy to see it. So basically we'll be able to replay stories similar to what you could in base game. You can see cutscenes, story quests, so actual, you know, fights, and it shows you the amount of battle power necessary. I wish these would scale. That'd be really nice, but it doesn't look like they do since it shows the battle power that you need to get through it. So we'll have to see once it releases. This is a really cool addition as well. We've got the treasure shop. Essentially, this is the shop that we had over on JP, where it's a shop that just rotates items. Now on JP, the way that it worked out was you were able to purchase items for either Meseta or for SG. It was 2 separate shops. And what would happen would be that it would have random items that would be in that shop each day. And you could reroll the items in the shop for SG if you'd like to. But sometimes it were things like, you know, fashion. Other times it was, you know, materials that you would need to make items. Sometimes it was triggers that were used, or other times it was something like, you know, a bonus key. So those were things that were really, really useful in base game. Of course, not all of them apply into NGS, but we're going to be getting something fairly similar. You can see here, it shows off that this is the SG version, where we're getting, looks like an X cube, an N tri boost for 10 SG, which is pretty freaking good. Didal Soul S and Rodtech Doable S. So these are capsules that only require one use to go ahead and get the full 100% effect, which is pretty nice. And then we can see the shop for Meseta shows off it looks like a yellow Kvaris trigger. And then this one specifically looks like it's premium only. So it looks like there's a section for premium and as well as free to play. And it looks like it's the same thing. So it's not like that it's cheap or anything like that. You can just purchase another one. And then there's also a sticker down here. So it looks like they're going to keep with the cosmetics also being in here. It's worth mentioning that premium players can reroll this twice a day, while free-to-play players can only reroll it once. We weren't able to tell if the rerolls are used on both portions of the shop. In the past, I believe they were separated, so we'll have to see. A new face option, Imposing Face, for those of you guys who like beards. Very simple, very straightforward. We also have individual colors for cast parts. This is massive. So you're actually able to go in and color change individual parts, which you can see that based on them going in here and, kind of adjusting stuff. And you can look at the cast itself, right? Like the leg parts and the head part, like the head part has no blue whatsoever, but the leg parts do. I'm trying to look for another example because they didn't really do a great job. But you can see the head part here has this little beige color, but no other parts have it. So pretty cool. Now, I know some people were asking, is this going to cost, a salon ticket or a color change pass? My best guess is it's going to still cost a color change pass, the same way that previous cast parts or previous cast color changes cost a color change pass. This one will probably do the same thing. So, for good or bad, it is still going to cost you a color change pass. But the good news is you don't have to use it on every single set of parts you've got. It's basically bound to your cast, and then whenever you change your parts, you're good to go. Notice you can tell that by, if you look in this, it says body parts, arm parts, leg parts. It's not, the individual part itself. Let's see here. We also have previewing ornaments in the actual prize shop, so you can actually look and see what an outfit looks like with the ornaments hidden or shown. Very helpful for deciding if you want something or not. You can also listen to voices in game now, either the personal shop or via scratch tickets. So you have the ability to actually play them and hear what the voice sounds like. Very cool for people who like to collect voices and want to know exactly what these things sound like, or maybe just are curious. A new magnifying glass feature. I'll be honest, this doesn't really apply to me, but it basically allows you to magnify individual parts of the screen if you're having a hard time seeing. Realistically, the players asked to be able to adjust the font size, and they mentioned that it would break quite a few things as far as placement goes. So this was the kind of the thing that they went with instead. I don't think it's a good choice overall. I think it's kind of lame, but I'm sure someone who can make use of it is really excited for it. Finding other players, looking for party members in the same room. We actually had an entire discussion on stream about this, of people just not realizing that you can join people in progress when it comes to these things. But now you'll be able to do this looking for an entire room of players. They mentioned that they're going to have this eventually set up so we can look across the entire ship to form parties. So hopefully that's something that'll happen fairly soon. It'll essentially create kind of like a queue system. Very, very easy. Something similar to Final Fantasy XIV's Raid Finder, or I'm sorry, Party Finder. Autosell feature. This is probably the best way this could have been implemented. The autosell feature is going to be free to premium members, and then for free to play players, you can purchase an item for SG to be able to access autosell. So, best of both worlds. It's available to premium members, so premium is worth it. However, it's not kept from free to play. Free to play can still access via SG, which I think is the best of both worlds in those situations. I'm sure there are some players that would prefer to have this as a default option overall, but we also make complaints that premium is not worth it. So I feel like this is a good medium ground. Bulk receive a mission pass rewards. Not much to say about this. You just get everything at once as long as you don't have to make a decision for it, and then you can go back and click on the stuff that you do have to make a decision for. Very, very nice. Very, very, very wanted. I'm adding your picture to your ARCs card. I really shouldn't have to explain that one for you. The Spring 22 special scratch items added to the special scratch. They mentioned they were going to do this. We were joking around saying maybe they just forgot about it. I think they actually did, and they're just now adding them in. So they're adding in some items from the Spring 22 special scratch and just the base special scratch. So that's pretty dope. This is a scratch. It's fashion. We're not going to go over it. Not that I have a problem with fashion, but you can look at fashion and decide if that's something you like. Rajord Gorge. So this is a very interesting zone. This zone actually deals temperature damage, and from what I can tell, it not only does damage, but also freezes you. You'll need to have resistance, or low temperature resistance, to counter this damage. They mentioned there's a few ways to counter this. Yeah, here we go. It looks like it's completely separate of your actual ailment resistances. So the way they mention this is you can get this by either augmenting it, you can get it by using a special food item, you can get it by eating for a special food, or you can get it from the, what's it called? The mag, the mag itself, the region mag is what I was thinking of. So those are primary ways you get it. You need to at least get enough for you not to be able to take damage. And there's a way you basically just don't take damage in that zone. I think 50% is how you don't take damage. I'm not sure why they would show it otherwise, but it's something that we'll have to wait until we get and see how it works out. The big thing I'm concerned about is I'm curious if it's going to be enough to use just region mag plus the food you use from the actual, what am I thinking? From the Ryuko device. That was the word I was looking for. The food you use from the Ryuko device, but if it's not enough, then we might have to augment for it, which could cause some annoyances. Ancient enemies join the fray on 6/15, so they're not going to be available immediately, but basically these are supposed to be super gigantics. Looks like some pretty cool moves, but we'll have to see what's actually different for them. I mean, I can see attacks, but these are player attacks, not their attacks. So it looks like there's a Jifoe over there and then some Bo Pie going off. I imagine this is just the gigantics in this zone. So again, hopefully something new, something different, but at the very least it's going to be gear, because that's what gigantics do. They drop gear. Looks like we have refined form 4. Again, I'm not going to cover fashion, but I definitely want this outfit. Moving on. Mission Pass Season 9. This should be fairly straightforward. Mission Pass, super dope, and they're using a Ice Dragon as the mag this time around. We mentioned it earlier, Dark Falls Interception rank 2. So the way this quest is going to work out is you need a trigger to actually access it. I'm not sure if they're going to do the whole, like, after you finish Dark Falls rank 1 that pops, you can do Dark Falls rank 2 as well, or if it's just the trigger itself. But essentially you access the trigger, and it's a harder quest. You can only go with 4 people, and after 5 deaths, the quest ends. From what we've been able to find, it looks like it does not use your trigger unless it's upon completion. The question is going to be is what they define as completion. So if they define completion as finishing, pass, or fail, it would use your trigger, but canceling the trigger early if you're concerned that you guys have gotten way too many deaths may save your actual trigger itself. So that's something worth keeping in mind moving forward. And it just shows more relentless attacks from Falls. So they also mentioned that, you know, better stuff is going to drop from this, so rarer loot, but they didn't mention any specifics, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, another scratch ticket. All I have to say about this one is I can't wait to see all the Jetstream Sams and the Raiden cosplays, because it's exactly what's going to happen here. And that's it. That's all I've got for you guys. This is a massively longer video than I would have liked to have been, but I feel like giving you guys a bit more of a deep dive into my full understanding of what I've seen so far and the extra bits and pieces of information was definitely worth the time. If you guys have any questions, feel free to toss in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace out.